Club and Founder Circle meeting in Egypt, they did a calculation and they did prove that in some countries we need to work 3 times, 4 times more for the same result in order to get the opportunity going. So how can we do? And one of the values we accepted for us is being exceptional. Now guys, then everything is against you. The only thing you can win against all the headwinds is being exceptional. In your attitude, in your professional attitude, in your knowledge, in the way you organize things. So we always told to our people, and we keep telling them, guys, if we are not exceptional in everything, we have no chances to compete with UK. We have no chances to compete with Spain. We have no chances to compete to any of the countries that don't have our hardship. And if we want the opportunity to work for us, we need to become exceptional in what we do.
This is offering us to be relevant. We very conscious about this.
So when you see us, being so disciplined and strict, you know that we need that, because otherwise we will be Global Expansion Team 2500. We cannot be 40K, we cannot be Chairman's Club, we cannot have 10 president team in the country, we cannot have 50 millionaire teams or 200 Global Expansion Team. That would be impossible for us if we are not taking everything very seriously. So the values that we have helped us a lot. And it's very important to understand that our training today might seem for some of you a little bit too complicated. And I want to make this disclaimer, because a lot of us come into the business and we don't experience something really serious as a structure. The fun, simple, magical idea, slogan, which is very important in the beginning of the business for a beginning supervisor, distributor, maybe a whole team. For some reasons, we transfer it to the president team, whilst the gains and responsibility is completely different on these different levels, And even when we came in the beginning in the business, we didn't need the things we are going to teach you today, because we had our golden moments. Everything was flying. We were in a business flow which was bringing some time of results. It took us time to understand that we are not happy about the outcome. But we were going to Global Expansion Team, to Millionaire Team. The life was good. Problem is, what do you do when the golden moment is finished? And maybe some of you here are in your golden moments. But I want to promise you one thing. If you are here for the long run, we have 28 years, the golden moments are going to finish, because business models and golden models, they have their life cycle. And at some point, the same thing you used to do before are not working anymore. And, we've seen different type of reactions. People whose golden moment was some time ago, and they are paralyzed, waiting forever, and thinking that if they will never quit, something will happen, and that golden moment in the magical way will come back. Well, maybe yes. But I know stories of the countries that have been through golden moments recently, and they waited for 15 years for the next golden moment to come. So the question is, do you wait for the next golden moment to come? Do you wait for the miracle to repeat? Do you complain and be nostalgic? Oh, sometimes ago, things have been so easy, and it was simple, fun, and magical, and everything like that, and now this is not anymore. Or you take responsibility and you generate and desire outcome proactively. So this was our position. This is why I am not afraid of anything, any crisis, except for my health and the health of my loved ones can come, and even that I know how to address, I know that I have a proactive position, that I am responsible, that I can be exceptional. So this is the access to my power. And yeah. And I want to give you this power because really the level of knowledge we can acquire is simply incredible. Of course, I wouldn't have been able to do a training like this even maybe 10 years ago. But through the engagement, through responsibility, through the standard of being exceptional, and by the way, guys, we are not exceptional in Herbalife. We are not. We can be. We are not. All of us can raise our standards. All of us can be by each distributor and every customer and fight for everyone, to retain everyone, to not have bad outcome on the marketplace, to really be there for every person in our lives and in our businesses. And can you imagine what a difference we can do in our business if we will have this type of approach? But fun, simple, magical, as I said, is something in the beginning. If we would not have this marketing approach to our business, we would never be able to attract people. And really, for a distributor, for a supervisor, it is really about using the products, about sharing the story. It's about engaging a couple of people.
By the way, this is fundamental element. You need to understand.
Fun, simple, and magical is very important, you know? And you know the joke? I should tell a joke because I think I'm too serious. Okay.
You
So-
yes, I am not.
Okay. So there is this guy coming the guy dies, you know, and he's coming to the gates of the whatever that was, you know. And here it was the gate to heaven, which it was saying you need to be the sobriety and seriousness and reflection. And here it was the gate to hell, you know? And it was saying party, really incredible lifestyle. Like really incredible experience and the sweetest dolce vita you can imagine. Okay, so the guy is thinking, hey, this is kind of boring, you know? I better go here. And when he is coming here, if you come here, you will have this, and you will have that, and you will be never bored, and everything is going to be great. So in the end of the day, he says, okay, I'm not going to the heaven, I'm choosing the hell, although it's bad, you know, but look what nice prospects I have here. When he's entering the gates, the next moment he finds himself in working clothes with a shovel, you know, in front of a big fire, and they tell him, now start working. He said, what do you mean? You just told me that it's going to be only parties and only beautiful. He said, okay, that was HOM.
Rodica, I think I think this is some incorrect happening. These guys offering us only serious and boring topics, okay?
Yeah.
And not we need to be more serious.
But in all fairness, Sergiu, you are serious and boring.
Yeah. For me, it's impossible to compete with in English.
Okay. So that's basically the difference, guys, and we already went over the time for our introduction.
This is my
this
limit.
is for the supervisor is to know how to use the watch, but for us as leaders, we need to understand how the watch is working. Because if this watch is broken, we need to know how to fix it. And this is why we need a higher level of knowledge. But I'm just doing a disclaimer. Maybe not all of you need everything what we are going to say. A lot of you will need maybe a part of what we will say or what we will teach. But just know that for me, even if 5% of this room can use what we do, it can make a difference. And I tell you something. I wish when I was a global expansion team, 2,500 or a millionaire team, then somebody would have gave me a training like today. I think we would have had our results much faster and much bigger because years and years and years we spend in trial and error just to be able to deliver a training like that. Okay, so let's talk about the flow. And why is the flow so important? And I know, sometimes we heard these things like, why we are talking about the flow on the leadership level? Because again and again about the flow. Because, for me, the beginning and the end of the business is in the flow. Because the flow is not only the way we bring customers and distributors, and I will give the definitions a little bit later, but the flow is actually the engine of our business. And we need to understand that everything has a flow. And the flow, what is the difference between action and flow, is that the flow is the order of steps which will deliver a predictable and smooth result. That's important. It's not going to be, periods of the results are happening and then no, it's smooth. You can count on that. And everything has a flow. The way you floss your teeth, the way you cook a soup, if you don't have the right order of the steps, the soup will just not have any taste. So it's very important to understand that in a business flow, it's a repeatable order of steps that follow each other in order to have a desired outcome. And desired outcome is something which you as leaders need to take from your values. Because the desired outcome can be, I want to become a president team. And that if this is the sole focus of your desired outcome, trust me, your flow is going to be different. If you want only to qualify supervisors as a desired outcome, you will have another flow. If you want to build a sustainable business based on a group of productive supervisors, which is our outcome we are looking for, you will have a different flow. So you need to be really mindful about what do you do in this business. And I will give some examples a little bit later. Now, what is the importance of the flow?
Yeah, guys, in my career, I looking for only two words. Number one is quantity, and number two is efficiently. Cantitatea și eficiența. Sunt două cuvinte dominante. Ok, cantitatea și eficiența. Acum, vă dau un exemplu, dacă vedeți aici, acolo este un conveyor.
I don't know if you see here.
Conveyorul a fost creat de Henry Ford. Ok. Industria, el a revoluționat industria automobilistică. Ce a făcut Henry Ford? El a creat un sistem în care toate operațiunile au fost gândite și structurate. Ce a obținut Henry Ford? El a obținut volum mai mare, în același timp, mai eficient, și atunci producția lui a fost mai ieftină și a putut să vândă mai mult și în final a dominat industria. Până când, bineînțeles, și alții au început să facă acest lucru. De asta este extrem de important să gândim în aceste termene. Eficiență, 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 eficiență. Tot timpul să gândim la eficiență. Bineînțeles, să nu uităm de cantitate. Și atunci când ai un sistem bine pus la punct, ce se întâmplă?
So when you have a well-designed system, in this way, by always looking at efficiency, always have efficiency in mind, but also think about the quantity, of course. So when you have a well-designed system, what will happen? Well, you are no longer improvising. You are not improvising. If your business is 90% improvising and 10% the system, you'll never be efficient. If it's the other way around, 90% streamlining and 10% improvisation or 5% improv, then you increase efficiency and of course
obiectivele tale. Cam așa stau lucrurile, ok?
You reach your objectives faster and in a better way. This is how things are.
What is the next step? The same thing, the flow helps you eliminate roadblocks and bottlenecks. Now, some of you, if you look around, this is a type of vision you need to develop as a leader, because this is my vision. I'm always screening my business for what's not working. Not because I'm a negative person, but I need to know in time what is not working because I have the power and the knowledge to fix it. So when you have a roadblock or a bottleneck in your business, that's a problem of a flow. A lot of you are saying that the recruiting numbers are down, or you are not, which actually the numbers are not showing that, but at least there is a perception of that. Where you can find an answer, and I hope you get a little bit more knowledge after our training today, you find it in your flow. There is something in your flow which is not working on the point of exposure to the business opportunity, or selling of the business opportunity, or enrolling the new members. Or sometimes you have a roadblock, your people don't bring new customers. This is again, something happens in the flow because things are changing. We are going to talk about what is influencing actually the flow and the changes in the flow. And we need to be constantly vigilant. If beforehand we should revise our flow in about 3 to 4 years, maybe right now I'm telling you, I am on alert every half a year. Every 6 months to a month to a year, something is happening and the flow needs adjustment. It's critical for duplication. This is so easy to duplicate yourself if you have a clear flow, because it's clarity which you duplicate and you move downline in your team. It enables easy mentoring and correction. Now you have somebody who is struggling, you have a supervisor, and he doesn't have the results he wants. When you have a flow, you just quickly check each step of the flow. You immediately know what he's doing wrong, and you can teach him exactly this moment, and you can correct him just on spot. The next thing is save times and increases efficiency. Sergio talked about that, and determines training, content, and system. Because different business models and different business flows require different trainings, and this is another thing which we need to understand. Now I want to do some important definitions, because we use these words in different ways, but in our training particularly, I want to define how I'm using this terminology. So the DMO, when we say about DMO, we mean the ways we bring in customers and distributors and our value proposition. So we don't call as a DMO the whole flow. We consider DMO a part of the flow, because there are common elements in any flow and there are different elements in any flow. Different elements in any flow will be due to the DMOs. Common elements in every flow will stay no matter the flow you are going to find them. And yesterday was an excellent example with Gian Giacomo and Ertan. They showed you two completely different flows, so different methods of operations, but then the key elements were there. And you can see that this is working. Why is this working? Now, flow is all the process, steps, and actions you need to go through to achieve your outcome. And it contains personal action and leveraging the power of supporting events. Starting from Global Expansion Tip 2500, if you want to scale your business, guys, you need to leverage the power of events. Why? You need events because in events you are efficient. You have more people in a short period of time to deliver the message and to do the conversion. So if you have a flow and you don't employ any type of events to support your flow, then you are going to do really hard work on a very low pace. Now, why is this important for you? Who is going to organize the supporting events? Who is organizing the structure of Fit Club activities, of cooking classes, of whatever else you do, customer meetings? Of course, it's us leaders, because if we as leaders don't organize this, our people don't have the capacity to do that. Now, the model for us is a totality of DMO, flow, with supporting events, and training system. Because training system is another category, it's a separate training in itself about the training system, but all of these need to cater to your flow, and all of these need to cater to your outcome. We had an experience of two flows. First flow was, you know, with the rowing boat, have a separate flow for the bringing distributors, a separate flow of bringing and working with the customers. And for many years already, we've transitioned to an integrated flow, which is customer to active supervisor flow. Now, what is impacting the creation and the change of the flow? This is a living element. It's a living organism, because market realities are influencing the flow. Other leaders' innovations are influencing your flow. Herbalife Nutrition rules and legal changes big time influence the flow. Before yesterday, you could do some things. Starting from today, you cannot do some things. And here again, for us as leaders, we are responsible, guys. Instead of complaining and bitching and moaning that the law has changed, let's focus and find a solution and adjust our flow, because that is in our power. Technology is very disruptive. Technology is influencing the flow big time, sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a bad way. Crises are influencing the flow, because when you go through a crisis, there are things you need to adjust, and proactive evolution is also influencing the flow. Now, I am for proactive evolution. This is why we have what we call in our country, we have the flow committee. I will talk about it a little bit later. We use an integrated approach. We have our flow with the CHOSO DMO with all supporting elements. We have supporting events for our flow, and we have a training structure and content to support the flow. Now, when you operate some changes, you can operate them on the flow or you can operate them on the model. For example, we had an experience of changing the model, and I will explain you why. When you are changing the model, this is the hardest thing to do. It's really, really hard, but it's possible. And if your outcome is calling for that, then this is something you should go for. But then you need to change everything. You need to amend the whole model and on all levels. And that is complicated. We did it only once in our story.
Okay, guys. If you, dacă voi implementați sau faceți sau aveți deja business flow, voi trebuie să țineți cont de aceste patru area care trebuie să faceți extrem de bine. Okay. Prima area este planificarea sau designul. Okay? Aceasta este munca aceasta e intelectuală și trebuie făcută de toți lideri.
This involves a lot of intellectual work, and all leaders must bring their contribution.
Now, this is not the situation in our business, because all of us have already the flows, yes? It's not like now you've been at the FPTR and you go back home and say, Rodica and Sergiu told us that we need to design and create the flow. No, we all have the flows. But otherwise, it's our responsibilities as leaders, if we don't have one, to create one.
Noi vorbim despre macro-abordare, ok? Nu vorbim despre varianta ideală.
The macro perspective, not the ideal case scenario. Now, the second part is the implementation part. Now, when it comes to implementation,
foarte important este înrolarea pe
what is very important is to enroll as many people as possible, and also be patient. Be patient, because not all of them will get it from the first attempt. After the implementation phase, we have the management phase. Now, when it comes to the flow management, my recommendation is the following. Please don't lose your focus. It's so easy to lose sight of the management part. In my view, this is the most important thing for a leader, to make sure that he focuses and he keeps in check all operations. Now, and the last aspect is to constantly pay attention and fine-tune all processes. But if you keep focus, then, of course, you also ensure the last part.
In our business is the disconnect between lower ranks and higher ranks. And this is, you need to understand that. And this is a kind of a need for creativity that we have. And when we are Global Expansion Team 2500, sometimes we are hit by an incredible creative spray, and we want to go and invent something just because we fancy that. And when we defend that, we say, I am in this business, I'm independent, I have the right, I don't want to do what my sponsor does. And what we are talking about here is very much to do by these tables and like President Team and Millionaire Team. But for you as Global Expansion Team, I want you to have a little bit of patience and follow your sponsors. Why? Because you don't have the knowledge and you don't understand all the underlying complications of changing the flow, and then you actually distract yourself and disrupt yourself instead of growing yourself to a point of knowledge when you can do that, you know? So one of the reasons why we have the same flow in Romania, people say, because Sergiu and Rodica are, dictators.
No, only me.
Because we are dictators. No, because our S&P is enrolled in that. They understand, they are part of this process. And we understand that when we have 10 flows on the marketplace, it's much harder to train and to have resonance and grow when if we are more or less aligned.
People thinking if we very disciplined group, it's dictator. No, discipline is not dictator.
Yes, no. By the way, we base our leadership on knowledge. We explain to people, we enroll them, and we show them exactly what is happening. Okay, now this is, sorry. I think I should go back. One slide. Okay. When you design and create your flow, is actually you need to identify the key, the outcome. Remember about the outcome. What is the goal? I will give you an example with what is happening in our flow, and you will understand it better. You need to identify the outcome and the key elements. You need to create all the needed materials and structures. This is very important. Who is doing the scripts? Who is doing the PowerPoints? Who is doing the videos? Who is doing the presentations? Who is doing the structure of everything? We as leaders do, because our supervisors don't have the knowledge to do that, you know? And everything needs to cater to your flow. Every time we change the flow, I had to change the pitch books. I had to change the presentations. I had to change the materials we had. When we changed models, we had to change everything. And maybe changing a model will take 2 or 3 years, but then it's really, really complicated. This is why you need to really be careful before starting to change things, but in the same time, it's important to always evolve. Now, one of the secrets in building a right flow, and you know this is a model which I use a lot in training the leadership, is you need to have success in personal production. Now, when you do the flow, how is the best way to see how the flow is going? And this is for 20K and the Chairman's Club and for President team. Go and sell a program the way you teach your people to do. When you have success in personal production with your flow, this is when you know that your flow is working. But if something is wrong in your flow, you having success in personal production with that flow will immediately expose all the weak points of it, you know? So this is, for me, was always important. I was creating the flows, but I was creating them from my experience. When we wanted to implement nutrition clubs in Romania, I traveled to Mexico, I traveled to Philippines, I've opened a club, I was operating in the club, and operating in the club helped me find all the tiny little bits in the flow which made all the difference in the conversion. This is just as a recommendation. You need to, and now, by the way, now for 2023, we have the relaunch of the Nutrition Club model in Romania, version 2.0, yes? So I opened a club with my first line, a millionaire team, but I opened the club because I want to go in the club and I want to practice the things I want to introduce in the flow. Because unless I am practicing it and I don't see how this is working, I really cannot be precise. And this is important. Okay, so let's see what are the elements in the business flow. Elements. We go quickly through that, and you just make a checklist for yourself, but then you have all the elements. Now you need to have the lead generation and value proposition figured out. Remember, this is the daily method of operation. You need to understand exactly when your person is going to talk in the circle of influence or is doing an active contact, what is he saying? Hello, I'm me, and I want to, what? Invite you to where? To do what? You need to have clarity because you need to build the flyers. You need to build maybe the events that are going to help your people bring people. So this value proposition need to be very, very clear. The next thing, you need to understand exactly what is your first sale. What do you sell? For us, our first sale, if it is a nutrition club, is a membership, and then is the healthy breakfast, and then at home, and then is a personalization. But first sale, what do you sell first? And you need to build for that everything that people need. They need the pitch books, they need the PowerPoint presentations or some videos or whatever. And you choose what is your first. Maybe your first sale is a Herbalife 24 shake. Maybe your first sale is a pack of snacks. Maybe your first sale is the skin product. Depends on the method of operation, on what you do. But you need to understand what is that common denominator so you can teach everybody what is the first sale and you can have a control over that. At least this is my experience. Another thing, the follow-up. Do you have clarity in the follow-up system of you? Do you have supporting events for the follow-up? Whether this is morning clubs, this is online structure, or this is the customer days, or these are some materials, or videos. We have a lot of things built up for our follow-up, including the nutritional education, and videos, and pitch books, and a lot of assets, because we want to help our distributors give the best follow-up. One of the things which is always missing in a lot of flows, Personalization. How do you expose your customers to other products when the first sale? You need to have a process. You need to have a script. You need to teach your distributors, okay, so you have your person, he bought a healthy breakfast. In day 5, you call him and you tell him this or that. Or you tell him from the beginning, in day 10, I'm going to call you and I'm going to explain you about the other products. Or I'm going to give you a personalized meal plan. What is the process? You need to think about it. You need to have it, because otherwise, your organizations are going to sell only the first sale. Only whatever it is, a pack of snacks or a Herbalife 24 shake or only the healthy breakfast, and you don't expand it to bigger consumption of the product. Another thing which is very important, exposure to business opportunity. Now for us is an integrated flow. We start with the customers and we go to them to be a distributors. It doesn't have to be like that. You can start with the business, it doesn't matter, but you need to have clarity on the flow. When you expose people to the business opportunity, and a lot of you have here some question marks, and also you need to watch the language. Why are you inviting them? What are you telling them? What do you explain them is the next step? So exposure to business opportunity needs to be clarified in your flow, maybe not in this order, it doesn't matter, but you need to know exactly when you expose, how do you expose, what do you tell to the prospect, how you bring him in Herbalife. You need to have clarity because you want to teach your new distributor this. This is what you say. It's fun, simple, magical. This is what you need to say. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and then it's easy to duplicate. Now for us, we have with a PC, we have in our process a selection moment. What do you want to become, a preferred customer or a distributor? And then you have the distributor activation, and I will show you our flow a little bit later. And then we have the beginner's plan, and then we have the steps to build the supervisor qualification, and the end thing needs to be royalties. So for us, the end point of the flow from lead generation is the royalties. And if your flow has all of these elements, you will experience that. You will experience new customers, new distributors, new supervisors coming, and an easier duplication. Now, as I told you, you need to have the event structure to support your flow, and you need to have the training content. Now, I will tell you that I am very, very hardly changing something because I know the psychology of implementation. But in the same time, I would say that we have changed a lot of things throughout the years. And this is just to exemplify you how many times in these years we amended our flow. It's not that we started with something in 1994, and this is what we were doing, and for the last 15 years we are complaining that the same model doesn't work, because models have life cycle. The same model which brought you to 20K in 2 years' time is not going to work anymore because it is changing. So many things are changing. So we used with the user talk like the true flow. When in 2002, when all Europe was exploding with the business seminar, with the STSs, we stopped doing STSs in Romania. 2002, we stopped doing STSs. So many of you coming and saying, oh, Romania is a closed system. I'm asking you when is the next STS, and you don't give me the information. We are not doing STSs in Romania since 2002. Why? Because the outcome of the STS was not in line with our values. We couldn't have an STS for a full day and qualify somebody as a supervisor because people didn't have money to buy a supervisor qualification. And we didn't need to spend 8 hours of training to sign up somebody. You understand? So we made that decision. We don't need STSs. We changed it to a different approach. We did not implement the online lead generation model. A lot of you went into that. We didn't. Again, we made a decision based on our reality, the reality of our market, the outcome that we wanted to have. And just as a leader, sometimes you make decisions to implement some innovations, sometimes not. When we had the total plan, had to change all the materials, all the presentations. When we had the wellness evaluation, had to change again all the materials, all the evaluations. When in 2007, we had a moratorium on recruiting advertising. In Romania, we built it to 40K, 10 president team and everything like I told you. Without, since how many? 17 years, we cannot advertise recruiting in our country. Why? Because we have limited resources. And the bigger the organizations and the more the organization is advertising on the market, the bigger and the faster the coverage of the market. So while we were growing, this is turning against us. Is everybody today in social media in Romania would advertise about recruiting? Do you know what is going to be in our country? We will exhaust the resources. So in nowadays in social media in Romania, you cannot put, I have business opportunity, you come to me. The only way you can do that is person to person and working through the customers. Did this slow us down? Yes, but it made our business much more sustainable. We traveled to Mexico in 2007 to study a nutrition club. We went, studied everything, came back, talked to the S&P, decided not to implement. We decided not to implement. We decided we are not ready. And I didn't have a very important an answer to a very important question. That was a change of the model, and I didn't understand how the training system has to be. In Hawaii, in 2013, I listened to a little lady from Philippines, and she was telling about 10 days nutrition club induction program, NCIP. She was from Philippines, and she was telling that in her country, in her organization, if somebody wants to open a nutrition club, she is calling them for 10 days of training, 8 hours a day, before they can open a nutrition club. And it made sense for me. You know why? Because nutrition club is a hell of a complicated operation. If you don't understand then, when you just push your organization against the wall. So I traveled to Philippines with 3 over millionaire team from our organizations. We spent 12 days in Philippines, went through the whole program, and I came back and we didn't implement the model. Why? Because in Philippines, they were signing up everybody as a distributor. And we are sticklers for full retail. For us, it's very important. Why we are sticklers for full retail? Because my guys need to work five times more for a customer. And when I have a business model which is cutting him from the full retail, that's meaning that these guys are really working for nothing. So we are sticking to the full retail as much as we can. We are going to be the last one to give up on that. So I go to...
Rodica, long journey, huh?
Yeah. When we go to another training and Bart is presenting the ambassador program, and I say, yes, I found the solution for my nutrition club model. Only like, look, 7 years later, all the elements came together, so we were ready to start implementing the nutrition club model. I had the operations, I had the training, I had the solution for my full retail, and then what we do? We opened first fit clubs, which were test fit clubs, and we were running them for 3 years before we launched the thing. And the nutrition
Rodica,
club.
we opened 3 experimental fit clubs.
Yeah, we had 3 experimental fit clubs and nutrition clubs and everything.
Between us.
And only in 2017 we roll out nutrition club. And then in 2019, I'm looking at the nutrition club model and I'm thinking, oh my God, this model has a limitation. If somebody doesn't leave close enough to come, I'm losing them. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? How I solve this? How I solve this? And when I'm hearing about the marathons, and I say, wow, this is exactly the solution which I need in order to solve this problem of a localization of the nutrition club. And I'm calling my guys, we are going into test. And this is a funny story because we have this flow committee, and everything was great in Romania. We qualified 4 diamonds, 40K, business flying. And suddenly I come in and I tell them, guys, we need to implement something new. And they say, oh my God, I can't believe we need to test something new. Why we do that? Everything is great. And this is called proactive leadership, and this is called knowing where your weak points in the flow are. And I told, no, we are going to do that because we need behavioral flexibility. have this flow committee, and everything was great in Romania. We qualified 4 diamonds, 40K, business flying. And suddenly I come in and I tell them, guys, we need to implement something new. And they say, oh my God, I can't believe we need to test something new. Why we do that? Everything is great. And this is called proactive leadership, and this is called knowing where your weak points in the flow are. And I told, no, we are going to do that because we need behavioral flexibility in our business model, because otherwise we die by one method, we work by one method, we die by one method. If something happens to the club, we have no alternative. This was May 2019. May, June, July, September, October, we do the test with all the tears and everything, because it's hard to do the test, you need to figure it out. Build all the assets, build all the materials, all the presentation. We'll launch it in November. Guess what happened in March 2020? Do you know when we closed? In 15th of March, we closed all the clubs. But we didn't lose anything because everyone was in challenges and marathons. So in 2020, we had the complete online flow created in 2 weeks. Gian Giacomo, I understand. But because we had the challenges and marathons, it was much easier. Then in 2021, we have launched the PC Flow, and I've trained all over Europe teaching you the steps of implementation. For 2023 now is the Nutrition Club 2.1 to finalize and launch. That's meaning for my flow committee, we go back to work and we start implementing. We have Claire Fox with Jan coming to the country. Thank you very much.
Rodica.
We take the know-how from everywhere we can get, and we do the next round.
And continue 24, 25, 26.
And you need to understand, I may never recruit anybody else in my first line. I may, because our daughter is in our first line. We have another 9 global expansion team. We can mentor and teach people and do whatever, and I can just enjoy my life. But one thing I cannot do, I cannot leave my flow unattended. I need to stay tuned, because this is a big organization, and if something is getting wrong, the impact is very, very difficult. So this is my job with Sergio. Main job is to supervise how the flow is happening, what the changes are, to bring innovations, to look for nice ideas, to have our ears all over and eyes open, and be all the time creative and think for new ideas. Here on this event, I'm all eyes and ears. I'm looking for the ideas. I'm listening for what things could be done. I've listened to what Ertan said. Good, something's not good for me, for our flow, what the other people are saying. So I'm taking the ideas, and when we have a council with our S&P, and when we have a council with our flow committee, and when we decide whether we want or not to do. Why? Because here we come to the next step. Once we have figured out the flow, and we understand what we want, and we need to understand how the implementation works. And I absolutely love this, because this is pure psychology, because, we need to innovate. We cannot not innovate, because everything has a life cycle, and from time to time, the best ideas are not working anymore. And now organizations are constantly exposed to new ideas. And constantly exposed. Have you heard yesterday, Ertan, how much passion he had in talking about his flow, where he figured out all the nuts and bolts, and that's the attitude and the knowledge of the flow you need to have, which is great. But new ways of doing business is oftentimes just some small tweak in the flow, and you need to understand where is the strategic importance or where is just tactical. Why you need to understand? Because sometimes you want to take another flyer or another approach, but then you will have to go through implementation. And oftentimes a new idea doesn't deserve to go through all the implementation hassle. Now, many times the new ideas is creating this bright, shiny object syndrome in our organizations, because we're getting bored, and from time to time we just want something new. And when we listen to somebody like Ertan, who is absolutely burning for his idea, of course it's very seducing, and when we look at our boring operations and nothing is happening interesting and we are doing the same thing, of course the pasture is greener on the other side. But then what happens oftentimes is that our organization drops what we do and they start doing something else, or we are forced to change by factors beyond control. And what is important to understand is that a good flow is a stream of very precise conversation, key phrases, and actions. Ertan, your training yesterday was absolutely brilliant because you have seen him. You say like this, and by the way, you don't say like this, but you say like that precisely. And in that moment, you say like that precisely. That is the level of details in the flow when you teach your supervisors, because these key phrases are the difference. And I'm always, when we work with our flow committee, or when I'm listening to somebody, because I'm interviewing people, if I see a nice idea, this is what I'm listening for. What is the key phrase? You say them, what do you say? Well, I tell them about it. What do you tell exactly? And when you ask, what do you tell exactly, you find these jewels, you find these pearls, which have been savvy ideas that come from practical application and somebody smart enough to find that thing. But all the elements are very neatly tied to each other. If you change one cog, yeah? If you change one cog, you know, one thing.
Schmuck.
Cog, okay.
Schmuck.
Okay, what, that thing. If you change that thing, you know, you just take, what you say, oh, it's nothing, it's just one little thing. But then your mechanism is not working anymore. And suddenly you have bottlenecks and things that are happening. Because when you are extracting one element, it may be that the whole structure is getting out of balance. Now, innovation and change are very, very important, yes, and they help us adapt. Our problem is this. Do you know what is this called? It's called the wagon train, you know, in the army. So we as leaders are in the front. But when we say, hello, we turn left, in the end of the wagon train, they just heard you flip around. So because the things are very difficultly and hardly or slowly getting into our ranks, we need to be very mindful of the changes we make. Because if you have a new idea, it takes between 1.5 and 2 years until more than 70% of your organizations are going to do that. And this is a very important model I'm very aware of.
But in implementation part, it's crucial.
This is science. This is pure science. But this is how we can use science to our advantage, okay? So I know for sure that I need to wait enough time having everything prepared, figured out, working, until everybody in my group are going to do it. So we have, for 2 years already, we have the PC program. Only now I can say that everybody speaks the PC language in Romania. After 1 year, hardly 50%. And we have been serious about the PC program and how we want it in our team. So this time lapse effect, you need to understand, will take you time. So when we come, at the next STS, a new speaker is coming and he's bringing a new idea of doing business, of course our people are confused because they just start doing something, then they drop that, and then they don't remove a cog, they change the engine, and they start to do something else, and then something else, and of course is chaos. People cannot have a streamlined result because they don't have a figured out flow. And when you innovate on a weak flow, it's even worse because your flow is weak from the beginning and then you change all the time, all the things. Now, any change disturbs productivity. And by the way, whether this is a good or a bad idea, because this is a paradox. Sometimes we think, oh, this is such a good idea, but then it disturbs productivity just as well as a bad one. You need to be careful about that because sometimes you are forced to change, okay, when you have no choice. But then you just think about it as a plan and the steps, you just follow the steps of the implementation. But think 10 times whether you want to change something or no. Because, and this is an argument I often have with leaders, and they say, yeah, but creativity. I say, you know, we want to have royalties, and we don't want to have some royalties. We have to have some serious royalties. In order to have serious royalties, you need a factory. In order to be creative, you need a boutique. So if you want a boutique, you be creative. If you want to have royalties serious, you better have a factory. And you know what? You want, this is my answer. You want to be creative, go and sing. Take painting lessons. You know? Do bonsai arts. But you want to be effective, you build a flow and stick to it.
By the way, Romanian business is creating like big factory, not like small boutiques.
And by the way, although this is not coming through the trainings, I'm a very, very, very creative person. And I have everything around my house, and flower arrangements, and I paint, you know. But when it's coming to business, I want royalties. Now, I will wrap up this part. I will show how I do, and I will show you our flow, and will exemplify. Okay, so our vision. For us, is we are clear on the vision. We want everybody who is coming to our business to be successful. Will we have this outcome in the end? No, because some of people will quit. We know, the statistic is working. But at least on my part, on our part, I want to make sure that I did everything to provide the right condition, and then it's up to the people. Because I cannot stand that I could have done something as a leader and I didn't done because I was sloppy or I didn't take responsibility, and then the people are not successful because I have flaws in my flow, you know? But if I do everything right, then the rest is really statistics and what people do. Guys, this is the real thing. I'm showing you the real thing. My vision for the flow is we are building large communities of happy customers that consciously use the products together with their families, recommend their friends, and join in our mission. Flow. This is the outcome of my flow. This is literally what I wrote on a piece of paper. Now, what does it mean? Why the outcome is influencing what you do? Large communities. That's meaning that whatever I do need to provide intensity and capacity. How can I bring more people? Because I want large communities. So I need supporting events. One-on-one is not only to work, not going to work. Happy customers. How my flow is assuring that they are getting results? This is a question that I need to ask. This is how we build the flow. Conscious use of the products. Our people, our customers, most of them never used vitamins. They don't understand powders. They have a lot of pushback. How do I make that I educate them? Because if I educate them and they understand the products, is a probability that they will use more. Yes or not? By the way, guys, are you bored to death or not? Okay. Do I educate them in my flow? Thank you.
Your brain working very hard, huh?
Do I educate them? How can I educate them? How can I show them all the products? Together with the families. Of course, if I get, what does it mean to work intensively? I don't want to get next customer, next customer, next customer. I want to get next customer. What can I take out of these customers at maximum? Maybe nothing, maybe only first sale. But if I have a process which is ready to extract everything, then the probability that I will do that to a higher level is much bigger, okay? Together with the families. How do I get into the families? How do I get into the families? Do I have this as a process? Because then one customer starting from 115 volume points can lead to 289, which is the average for Romania, which is the highest in Europe on a PC, as well as percentages of them using the products. How do we do in Romania to sell more than France, almost twice? This is how we do, because we think about all these processes, how to extract more volume from each customer. Recommend their friends. Do I work with the referrals? And I want them to join our mission. How do I expose to business opportunity? So these are the questions I need to answer when I am building my flow. And also, what is my activation process? Now, this is our flow. Don't take it for granted. Yours are as good as this one. Just you need to look for the elements. So the lead generation, we use a lot of approaches. like, online and offline and referrals, and it's the usual menu. We invite people usually for a wellness evaluation, but listen, this can be a wellness evaluation. This could be a fit club activity. This could be a skin thing. But somehow, if we are not inviting them to the wellness evaluation, we will write down how we do the first sale, how we bring them to the nutritional products. Okay? Then we have the customer development program. And this includes everybody of our customer being in a marathon or challenge. We work with both. And then we have an induction process, which is educating the customer, which is making sure we personalize the program, which is making sure the customer is adding some new products. Yes, it's 4 calls, guys. Yes, it's a lot of work. But then it's the work with this customer, and I go intensively instead of going extensively. And then we expose them to the preferred customer account activation. We expose to the business opportunity, by the way, from the first week in the consumption. We do this very early in the process. We don't leave it necessarily in 2 months' time. And then, based on their choice, they will go to long-term customer, and then we have the promotions and everything for the long-term customers, or they will have to do the activation plan. And we have first call to activate a distributor, second call to activate a distributor, activation checklist, and we want to lead them to the supervisor qualification. Now, of course, we have a lot of supporting events, and all our training system is catering to that, to teach the distributors and the supervisors this flow. So this is actually how I am fulfilling on the value proposition which I do. Now, what is my personal process when it's coming to, now, when it's changing the model? This is really hard. Oh my God, I changed the model to Nutrition Club. That was like 3 years of work. This is really hard. But when you operate like timely changes, one of the things that I have is I have an open line. I developed a habit of always getting the feedback from the group. The people in my group know they can write me on my WhatsApp or Telegram group. They can come to me. Sometimes they don't come, but a lot of them are shy. But then I'm listening to the conversations. I'm very attentive at the trainings. I'm listening to the panels. Panels are the best place where you can find interesting idea. Practice your flow. This happens a lot. Look for the things that are not working. I'm always looking for the things that are not working. That's not meaning being negative. That's meaning to be alert. Now, somebody is coming and telling me, oh, we need to change this and this and that because this and this and that is not working. I will always pay attention to that. What do I do? I tell you exactly what I do. I start calling people. And by the way, what do you think about that? And then people say, yeah, that's a problem. Or they say, no, I don't have this problem. And then I call another place, call another place. I have 6 or 7 points in my organization, people I trust the knowledge and the feeling. I call them and I do the investigation. And then I find out that this is a problem for this person. Okay, so I do one type of work. If I find the pain point in different parts of my organization, I go to the drawing table. What's happening? Why this thing is not working? Look for sparks of innovation and savvy ideas. Oh, I love this. When I'm in a training and there is a panel and somebody, a Volt team or an active Volt team is dropping a pearl. You know, they found a key phrase. They found something really nice. And I know that this is going to change a situation in a certain moment in the flow. I love to collect those. And then it's important, you study and document them. I literally do the interview, I extract, I write down. I'm interested in the details and when we can transfer them to train the others. Okay, our rule is implement an idea only if the gains of its implementation will eventually exceed the losses of the implementation, for the reasons I shared with you before. So though we are very innovative in a way, we are very conservative in the other way. Somehow you need to strike this golden mean. This is key. Start a test project to figure out details. And this is our flow committee. And I know I have the members of the flow committee here in the room. Please stand up. Comitetul de Flux. Cine sunt membrii Comitetului de Flux? Vă rog să vă ridicați în picioare. Este Liviu, este Ion, Steluța, Cristi Dragu, ok? So these are the guys, este și Raul. Yeah, these are the guys that are without a payroll on a full-time job. I mean, we sometimes meet weekly for months in order to test things and to create all the resources. You start a test project. Now, in our organization, people know about that. I inform the active Volt team group and the top team group and say, you will hear some of us doing this and this and that. You need to know that we are doing a test project on that topic. Organization need to know, because otherwise they think that shady things are happening. And I say, when we get all the results, and the organization know, if the test is going to be positive, everybody is going to get everything ready to digest. If not, we will tell, we tried, it's not working, we are not going in that direction. Build the supporting assets and amend the training content. Now, when we launch the idea, everything is ready. The PowerPoints are ready, the videos, the scripts, everything is ready so it can go immediately into the use of the organization. There's a lot of preparation things. We launch it in the team, and then it's very important to follow the implementation steps and have the patience. Now, once we've done the implementation of that, and you can understand that this is always on our working table, sometimes always is happening, when we go to the fine-tuning and evolving.
Da, la fine-tuning eu aș adăuga, e foarte important aspect. Noi trebuie să fim conștienți că tot timpul ceva apare sau dispare.
Something very important. We should be aware of the fact that something can appear or disappear at all times
este
in our
absolut normal să fie și fine-tuning. Recomandarea mea pentru toți liderii este să facem revizuirea anuală a business flow-ului. Faceți asta sau în decembrie sau în ianuarie. Revizuirea anuală.
Do it either in December or in January.
By the way, I want to ask you if anybody got some value until this moment. If anybody found some things that need to be implemented, okay, thank you. So, and now we're in closing. We have 8 more minutes. We are going to close with something which is very important, you know? And we are going to talk about the leaders and the crisis management, because everything that allows, which is forcing us to change and adapt, oftentimes comes as a crisis. And I would like Sergiu to expand on that.
Pardon. Yeah. Okay. Guys, I prepare this training for, it's possible to deliver in 1 hour, in half an hour, and in 8 minutes. I would like to speak in Romania to be very, very quick. Okay. În primul rând, noi suntem conștienți că în acest moment în jurul nostru sunt turbulențele.
We are surrounded by
putem denumi crize, eu denumesc asta turbulențe.
Pentru mine așa văd eu lucrurile. Și pentru a depăși aceste turbulențe, noi ca și lideri trebuie să avem o setare corectă mentală. E foarte important. Dacă nu aveți setare mentală corectă, o să fiți foarte bine, foarte tare zdruncinați, să spunem așa. Setarea mentală. Care este setarea mea mentală pentru a face managementul crizelor? În primul rând, primul punct. Crizele diferite este o normalitate. Crizele diferite este o normalitate. Vreau să vă amintesc. Jim Rohn, că atunci când voi priviți filmulețul cu anotimpurile vieții, știți cum, în anotimpurile vieții, acolo este și iarna. Nu numai vara, primăvară, este și iarna. Iarna, despre ce iarna? Iarna despre crize. What is winter about? Well, it's about crisis.
Normal să fie crize, să fie
it's something normal. It's normal to have crisis and turbulences.
Nu e o problemă, e normalitate.
One thing. So it's normal. It's not a problem.
Acum, crizele politice, crizele economice, în cazul nostru, a fost tot timpul. Cu alte cuvinte, nu este ceva ce acum au venit sau nu a fost niciodată. A fost,
or something that we've never come across.
Liderul trebuie așa să fie setat, nu contează. A fost, sunt și va fi legat de crize turbulențe.
This is the mental setup that a leader should have.
În același timp, o să vă ajute foarte, foarte mult.
It will help you
următorul
a
lucru.
lot.
Crizele aduc oportunități uriașe. Atenție! Dacă voi vedeți numai probleme, aveți mare problemă.
If you only see problems,
Repet, dacă
then
voi
you
vedeți
do
numai
have a big
probleme,
problem.
aveți o mare
If you
problemă.
only see problems
Eu
in
personal,
front of you, you
tot timpul
do have
văd
a big problem.
oportunitățile.
Personally, I
Sau
always
dacă nu
see
văd,
the
depun
opportunities.
efort ca să văd
Or if I don't see
oportunitățile.
the opportunities
Oportunitățile sunt
immediately,
enorme.
I make
Ok,
the
vă dau un
effort
exemplu.
to
Vă
spot
dau
them
un exemplu
because the opportunities
legat de
are huge. And I'll give you this
Prima
example.
oportunitate
On the
legat de
opportunity.
criza
The
economică
first
sau crizele
opportunity
economice. Prima oportunitate.
related
O
to
grămadă de
economic
oameni
crisis.
o să caute soluții.
A
Sunteți de
lot of
acord?
people will start
acord.
looking for solutions.
Dar
Do you
mai
agree with
există
me?
încă o oportunitate.
But there's
Nivelul
another opportunity here.
Nivelul de disciplină și nivelul de învățabilitate a distribuitorilor
And,
o să crească foarte
the
mult. Cel puțin cu
distributors'
50%. Ok.
Willingness
Pentru
to
că
be taught
oamenii
will
trebuie să
increase
rezolve,
tremendously, at
trebuie să fie
least
eficienți. Cu alte cuvinte, astea
50%,
sunt două
because people
oportunități
need to
mari.
solve their problems.
Ok.
They need to be
Și
efficient.
încă ceva.
And these are
Încă o
two
citare.
huge opportunities.
Liderii
And
au
something else,
obligația
another
să fie
mindset that you
pregătiți.
should have.
Ok, pentru aceste crize
Leaders
sau turbulențe.
Have
Este
to be
obligația noastră
prepared
să fim
for this
pregătiți.
crisis and
Nimeni nu trebuie
turbulences.
să ne pregătească.
It's our responsibility to
Ok.
be ready. No one has to get us ready.
Câteva recomandări. Nu o să
Now,
reușesc
several
să dezvolt
recommendations.
totul. Câteva recomandări.
I won't be
În
able
primul rând,
to
la nivel personal,
insist on everything, but
sunt două
just a few
abordări aici.
recommendations.
Prima
First of all,
abordare la nivel sistemic, la
personally
nivel
speaking,
personal.
we have two
La nivel
approaches.
sistemic
The first
nu
recommendation
vorbim
is at
cum să
systemic
gestionăm
level, the
crizele la
second
nivel
one
sistemic.
at personal level.
Cum gestionăm
At
crizele la
systemic
nivel
level, I'm
personal?
not talking about how to
Câteva
manage the
recomandări.
crisis,
Prima
but how can
recomandare.
we manage the crisis
Prima recomandare.
at personal level?
Nu
The first
intra
recommendation.
niciodată în panică. Nu intra în panică.
Never panic.
Ok?
Never
Pentru că
panic.
foarte mulți oameni care când nu sunt pregătiți încep să intre în
Because
panică.
many people,
Niciodată
if
nu
they are
intra în
not ready,
panică. De
start to
ce?
panic. Never ever panic.
Primul
Why?
lucru. Pentru că tu nu ești singur.
First of all,
Tu nu ești singur.
Because you're not
În jurul
alone.
tău sunt parteneri și compania.
you are surrounded by
Doi.
partners and by the company. Secondly,
Au fost perioade și mai dure care au fost
there
depășite.
were even
Tot timpul
tougher
să
times
știi
in the
că
past that
criza
you
pe care tu o
overcome.
depășești nu este cea mai
So,
mare criză. Au fost
Bear
crize
this
și
in
în
mind.
trecut și
The
au fost
crisis you are
depășite.
facing now is not the biggest. Other
Trei.
bigger crises have
Foarte
happened in the
important
past and they were
punctul trei.
overcome. Three, and
Atenție,
this is
băieți.
very important.
În acest business, tu nu poți
Pay
să dai
attention to
faliment.
this. In this business,
imposibil să dai
you
faliment.
cannot go bankrupt.
Asta
It's
îți dă
impossible
siguranță.
to go bankrupt.
Nu poți să dai faliment
And
în acest
this
business. De
gives
ce?
you
Pentru că orice
safety
s-ar
net. You
întâmpla,
go
oamenii
bankrupt.
au nevoie de
Why?
noi.
Because no
Orice
matter what
s-ar
happens,
întâmpla, oamenii au
people
nevoie de
always
noi.
need us. No
Nu-
matter
nu
what
poți să dai
happens,
faliment.
people always need us. You
Și
can never go
patru,
bankrupt. And four,
De ce să nu intri în panică? Pentru că nu poți
Why shouldn't you
abandona
panic?
afacerea ta.
because
Pentru că pentru
you
mine,
can't abandon
afacerea
your
mea
business.
este ca și copiii
For me,
mei. Eu nu pot
my
abandona
business
copiii mei,
is just like my
exact așa
kids.
nu pot abandona
I can't abandon
afacerea
my
mea.
kids, and
Pentru că au fost
similarly, I
investiți o
can't abandon
grămadă
my
de
business.
timp, efort, emoții,
Because
multe
I've
chestii. Viața
invested
a
a
fost
lot of
investită.
time,
Cum poți să
effort,
abandona? Și
emotions.
atunci, toate aceste
Part of my life,
chestii
how can I abandon it?
îmi creează
all
să nu intri în
these
panică, că n-ai
put
de ce.
together
Ok, și
allow me
aici
not
mă
to
opresc
panic,
pentru că
because there's no
este
reason to
mobilizarea
panic. And
internă
I'll
în
stop here
compun,
because
dar având în vedere că
we
nu avem
have
timp, trebuie să
the
mă
internal
opresc aici.
mobilization. This would
Poate
be
în
another thing.
viitor
But
o să
we are running
dezvolt
out of
acest
time, so
subiect.
I'll have to stop here.
Sper să
Maybe in
nu
the
vă
future
trebuiască,
I will
dar știți cum,
dive more
crizele
into this topic. I hope you
vin-
don't need it, but
Așa.
who knows?
Este un training,
Crisis
este un
always,
training foarte
come.
complex, dar trebuie să ne
This is
oprim
a very
aici.
complex
Oricum, eu
training.
cred că a fost suficient
But we
pentru
have
voi.
to stop
Va
here.
trebui numai
Anyways,
să
I
facem
think that
închiderea
it has been enough.
și la
Now we
închidere
have
vreau
to
să
do the
punem
closing
câteva slide-uri
remarks
și am
and
terminat.
So what's
We just
important
have
to
a couple of
understand
slides
that
to show you
leaders
and
lead by
that's it.
example. And this is something which is impossible, not only impossible to change, but we don't even want to change because this is bringing us power, this is bringing us a mission because the big leaders act from a sense of mission. And if you want to really build a big business, find yourself a goal which is bigger than yourself. And how beautiful, because this was the biggest gift Mark gave us. He gave us a goal big as the whole world. And there is a lot of things to do still there, and it's going to be for many years more.
Nu căuta, următorul aspect e foarte important, nu căuta calea mai ușoară. Ok? Caută să devii mai puternic. Asta este cel mai important, poate, mesaj. Ok? Pentru noi toți. Și
Ucraina.
Da. Da. E foarte important. Și aș vrea să fac încă ceva la final, că ieri a fost ceva important aici pe această scenă. No translation? Ok. No translation? It's ok? Ieri e foarte important. It's very important. It's no translation. It's not. Ok. Ieri ceva s-a întâmplat foarte important pe această scenă. Ieri noi am sărbătorit țara anului, ok? Și este Austria și aș vrea să aplaudăm Austria.
We celebrated the country of the year, which is Austria. Big round of applause for Austria.
Dar este unbelievable achievement. Dar în același timp,
it's an unbelievable
dragi prieteni, noi trăim în partea aceasta a lumii în care se întâmplă lucruri, turbulențe majore în acest moment. Și între noi există o țară care, mie mi se pare, merită tot respectul pentru ce se întâmplă acolo și o grămadă de distribuitori au putut să ajungă astăzi foarte greu, dar au ajuns aici. Și eu vorbesc despre o țară super și este vorba despre Ucraina. Aș vrea să se ridice toate distribuitorii din Ucraina care sunt aici și să aplaudăm băieți.
That are present here, please stand up and a big round of applause for all of you. Huge respect.
Why we are doing that? Because these guys are really showing the true leadership, and these guys are facing really serious problems. So if they can do it, we can do it. And guys, let's make Herbalife incredible for the future, for us, our families, and our organization.
Yeah. Thank you guys.